They smirked. "You've wanted this too, admit it." The room went quiet the moment those words landed. Not loud silence, but the kind that presses against your chest and dares you to breathe. Everyone was watching her then, waiting for the smallest crack in her face, a nod, a flinch, a confession she had never planned to give. She smiled instead, not because it was true, but because sometimes a smile is armor. Anya had learned that early in life. Smiles ended arguments faster than truth ever could. The apartment smelled faintly of fresh paint and coffee. Sunlight slipped through sheer curtains, softening the edges of the moment. Three people stood there, bound together by choices none of them had fully understood when they made them. Rohan leaned against the counter, casual, confident, his fingers tapping his phone as if this was just another ordinary afternoon. Maya sat on the edge of the kitchen island, her posture relaxed, her gaze sharp and observant. And Anya stood between them, holding a small box in her hands, as if it contained something fragile enough to shatter the room. "It did. You can say it," Rohan added lightly, the smirk still on his lips. "You've wanted this too, admit it." The words weren't cruel on the surface. That was the worst part. They sounded playful, teasing, almost harmless, but they carried a weight that made Anya's fingers tighten around the box. What they didn't know was how many nights she had spent staring at the ceiling, questioning her own heart. How often she had told herself that wanting peace was not the same as wanting chaos, that silence was not consent, that endurance was not desire. Anya and Rohan had grown up together. Same neighborhood, same school, same small dreams whispered under a fading streetlight. Everyone assumed they would end up together. Even they did, for a while. Comfort can look a lot like love when you're afraid to imagine more. Maya entered their lives later, like a breeze through an open window. Confident, intelligent, unafraid to say what she wanted. She admired Rohan's ambition and Anya's kindness. What began as admiration slowly twisted into something complicated, something no one knew how to name without fear. At first it was harmless, conversations that lingered too long, laughter that felt a little too warm. Anya told herself she was imagining things. She always did. The real challenge didn't arrive all at once. It came quietly, disguised as compromise. Rohan wanted more from life. More success, more recognition, more excitement. Anya wanted stability, a place where love didn't feel like a performance. Each time they argued, it ended the same way. Rohan would laugh, brush it off, say she was overthinking again. Maya saw it. She didn't interrupt, didn't interfere, she watched. The day everything shifted was the day Anya realized she had stopped speaking her mind entirely. Not because she had nothing to say, but because she was tired of being told that what she felt wasn't real. That realization hurt more than any argument ever had. When Rohan suggested they all spend more time together, he framed it as maturity, as honesty, as freedom. He said it was modern, progressive, something grown people should be able to handle. Anya agreed, not because she wanted it, but because she didn't know how to say no without sounding small. That was the first challenge, losing her voice without noticing. The second came when she realized how easily people mistake patience for permission. They laughed more when she stayed quiet. Decisions were made faster when she didn't object. Her discomfort became invisible, and invisibility, she learned, is a dangerous place to live. Maya wasn't cruel. In fact, she was the only one who ever asked quietly, "Are you okay with this?" Anya always answered yes. Not because it was true, but because she didn't know how to explain the exhaustion of constantly justifying her own boundaries. The box in her hands now contained the result of months of silent struggle, not a gift, not a surprise, a choice. She placed it on the counter and opened it. Inside were the keys. "I wanted you to admit it," Rohan said again, softer now. "We all want the same thing, don't we?" Anya looked at him, really looked at him, and saw something she hadn't before. Not confidence. Fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of losing control. Fear of facing himself without someone there to absorb the weight of his indecision. No, she said calmly, we don't. The word felt strange in her mouth, heavy, liberating. Maya straightened, her expression changing. What do you mean? I mean, Anya continued, her voice steady despite the storm inside her, I wanted honesty, respect, a relationship where my silence wasn't treated like agreement. Rohan laughed awkwardly. You're making this dramatic. That's another thing, she replied. Every time I speak, I'm told I'm too much, too emotional, too sensitive, but when I say nothing, you assume I'm fine. The room felt different now, the air thicker, real. Maya slid off the counter, walking closer. If this isn't what you want, why did you stay? Anya met her eyes. Because I thought leaving meant failing. I thought love was supposed to hurt a little. Silence returned, but this time it felt honest. The biggest challenge wasn't walking away. It was accepting that she didn't need permission to choose herself. Rohan's smirk faded. So what, you're just done? Yes. One word, clean, final. She pushed the keys toward him. I found a place of my own, small, quiet. It doesn't feel like I have to explain myself there. Maya exhaled slowly, something like respect flickering across her face. You should have said something sooner. I know, Anya replied, but I'm saying it now. Leaving wasn't dramatic. No slammed doors, no raised voices, just the sound of her footsteps moving toward a life that finally felt like hers. The days that followed were not easy. Independence rarely is. There were nights when doubt crept in, whispering that maybe she had overreacted, that maybe wanting more made her selfish. But each morning, she woke up in a space that felt safe, a space where her thoughts didn't need editing. She faced loneliness, financial uncertainty, the ache of starting over. Those were her new challenges, but they were honest ones. Weeks later, Maya reached out, not to justify the past, but to acknowledge it. I didn't realize how much you were carrying, she said. I'm sorry. Anya smiled then, genuinely this time. So did I. Rohan never apologized, and that too was an answer. Months passed. Anya grew stronger, not louder, not harder, just clearer. She learned that desire should never be assumed. That consent is not the absence of resistance, but the presence of joy. The inspiring truth she carried forward was simple but powerful. You are not required to accept a version of life that makes you disappear. Wanting respect does not mean you wanted the pain that came without it. And the next time someone smirked and said, "You've wanted this too, admit it," she knew exactly what to say. No, I wanted better. And this time she meant it.